They cornered my 15-year-old daughter in a public market. 6 church ladies shouting that she was unchristian and heartless. What they didn't know was that they just declared war on a mother who had receipts. By the end of the week, my ex-mother-in-law, the woman behind it all, was publicly shamed by her own church and forced to leave in disgrace. If you've ever dreamed of serving karma to someone who thought they could ruin your peace and walk away clean, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready. Because this story has one of the most satisfying revenge payoffs you'll hear all week. My name's Lisa. I'm 46, mom to 2 teenage girls, 17 and 15. Last year, I lost my ex-husband in an accident. And while you'd think that kind of tragedy would bring some peace after years of chaos, it only made things worse. See, when he died, I found myself not just dealing with grief, but with the ugly truth of who he really was. He'd been cheating on me. And the worst part? He had 2 sons from that affair. Both little boys, left orphaned when he and his mistress died in that accident. Now, my ex's parents, my former in-laws, are very religious people. Church every Sunday, prayer circles, that sort of thing. But underneath all that Christian kindness was something else. Control, judgment, manipulation. After my ex's death, they tried to get custody of my daughters. Then, when that failed, they demanded to move in with us. You heard that right. They wanted to live in my house. We're in court now fighting the custody issue, but the move-in thing, yeah, not a chance in hell. Now fast forward to my youngest birthday weekend. There's this local farmer's market full of handmade goods, fresh produce, local honey, all that. She loves it, so I gave her a budget and told her she could buy whatever she wanted. After about an hour, I started to get that uneasy mom feeling. You know, that gut instinct that something's off. Just as I pulled out my phone to call her, it rang, and it was her. She was crying. Between sobs, she said, "Mom, these ladies won't leave me alone. They're yelling at me." I froze. Then my heart started pounding so hard, I swear people nearby could hear it. I grabbed my older daughter and sprinted across the market. And there she was, my baby girl, surrounded by 6 older women, pointing fingers and shouting things like, "How could you turn your back on your poor grandparents?" and "Such a shame, refusing to be a good Christian sister to your baby brothers." They were talking about the affair kids, the same boys my daughters discovered when they accidentally saw their dad's messages, the same discovery that shattered their world. These women, sent by my ex-mother-in-law, were publicly berating my child for not being forgiving enough. I saw red. I stepped between them and my daughter and said, "That's enough." My voice was shaking, not from fear, but from rage. I told my older daughter, "Sweetheart, take your sister, pay for your things, and wait in the car." Then I turned back to that group of church ladies. One of them, who I actually recognized from my ex-in-law's church, looked me dead in the eye and said, "You should be ashamed. A good Christian woman obeys her husband's family." That word, obey, made my skin crawl. I told them, loud enough for half the market to hear, if obeying means letting your toxic in-laws bully your children, I'll pass. They kept shouting. I shouted back. It got heated fast. Security came over and asked us all to leave. As I walked to my car, they followed me, like vultures circling their prey. I slammed the door shut, locked it, and drove away shaking, trying to stay calm for my daughter's sake. That night, after putting the girls to bed, I sat in the dark scrolling through my messages, furious, exhausted, and trying to make sense of it all. Then I reached out to a guy I knew from that same church, someone reasonable, kind. I told him what happened, and he apologized and said, "Lisa, you're not gonna like this. Your ex-mother-in-law's been posting about you in the church Facebook group." Turns out, my ex-mother-in-law had written this massive sob story, claiming I had left her and her husband homeless and penniless. She said I took her son's money, that my daughters refused to speak to their poor, grieving grandparents. She even claimed I was keeping the baby brothers away from them. It was pure fiction, a Hallmark-level tearjerker for attention. And of course, all her church buddies were eating it up, calling us selfish, heartless, fallen women. But then, I heard the twist. She told the church that the affair partner wasn't really an affair. She claimed that woman was our surrogate, that I rejected the boys because they were boys. My jaw dropped. Not only was she twisting the truth, she was using my infertility as her weapon. That was it. That was the breaking point. I remember whispering to myself, "You want to play dirty? Okay, let's play." See, when my ex died, we were in the middle of a divorce. I had every piece of evidence from that process. Pictures, texts, messages. And since the divorce never finalized, I could legally release them. So, the next morning, I woke up early, drove to a print shop, and started printing. Every photo of my ex with his mistress, every text between him and her, the ones between him and his parents where they admitted knowing about the affair, the messages where they begged me not to ruin the family name, and worst of all, the emails where they bullied my daughters for telling me about the cheating. I still remember one of those emails. They called my girls bastards and said it was their fault their father died because they told the truth. And that message was sent 2 days after his funeral. I paid extra for high-quality prints. Then I went home, sat down with a cup of coffee, and began creating art. I made binders that looked exactly like the little prayer booklets the church used during services. Each one opened with a photo of my ex and his mistress making out in our living room, their faces perfectly clear. Underneath it, I wrote, "John and Emily's love story." Then came screenshots, messages, photos, proof of everything. At the end of each binder, I added the cruel messages his parents sent my daughters, highlighted in bright yellow. The next morning, I got up, put on my calmest face, and drove straight to the church before Sunday service. There's a desk in the back where they keep extra hymn books for people who forget theirs. Nobody checks them, so I simply swapped a few of my special editions into the stack. Then, I left. No words, no confrontation, just quiet, calculated satisfaction. By Sunday afternoon, the gossip mill exploded. The photos spread like wildfire. My phone was blowing up with messages from mutual friends. The church Facebook group was in chaos. People were furious, not just about the affair, but how my in-laws had lied and bullied my daughters. The pastor had to step in to calm everyone down because the comments got so nasty, they were turning R-rated. My ex and his mistress were called every name under the sun, and my in-laws, well, let's just say the holy couple was suddenly not so welcome in their own congregation. Here's the funniest part. Some of the same people who'd shamed me a week ago started messaging me privately. "We're so sorry, Lisa. We didn't know." One even mailed apology letters to my daughters. Another invited us to come back to church for support. And my ex-mother-in-law, she went silent for a few days, then posted a long, dramatic rant on her personal Facebook page about how no one cares for the elderly anymore and how she felt alienated by the very church she loved. She even wrote, "If only my great son were alive, he would have cared for me." Yeah, sure. With what money? I was the breadwinner, not him. Now the church wants nothing to do with them. Their social circle, gone. Their reputation, burned. All because she thought it was okay to send a gang of church ladies to shame my 15-year-old daughter. You know, revenge doesn't always have to be violent or loud. Sometimes it's quiet, precise, and devastatingly effective. My girls and I finally have peace now. We don't owe anyone an explanation, And for the first time in a long time, I can actually laugh knowing that karma showed up right on schedule, and she came wearing Sunday best. If this story gave you chills or made you smile even a little, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed?